Hello everybody and welcome back to the F1 2021 Co-op Career Mode Season 5 with me, Dan, and of course my co-commentator Nick. Our graphics provided by Matt Amos and Lon1138 as usual. We come to round 3 today for Portimao. A new favourite of ours, I think, just given the chaos that we encountered in, I believe, Season 2 or 3 when we first raced here. It was absolute carnage with Nick and that McLaren. And, well, since then, we've not been able to replicate it. Some interesting qualifying sessions since, though. I believe today it was raining, so I was able to get my Ferrari a little bit further up the standings. And Nick, of course, had no problem in the Mercedes. Don't forget to like this video, hit subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and comment down below what was your highlight of this Grand Prix. And then we'll move on to the starting grid order for round 3 of the championship. We'll see if there have been any changes. Of course, there have not. Pierre Gasly, once again, starting on pole position. He's alongside Lance Stroll this time. They're ahead of Justin Freshpot in P3 and Antonio Giovinazzi P4. And it's back to Lando Norris and Nicholas Latifi with the two sister teams alongside each other. George Russell and Lewis Hamilton, the two Brits, line up on the penultimate row of the top 10, and they're followed by Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc getting his Haas into the top 10. Then it's Nikita Mazepin in the first of the Williams and Radiant Slothz in P12. Then Sergio Perez P13 and Guan Yu Zhou in the other McLaren P14. Behind them, Esteban Ocon in the other Alpine and Yuki Tsunoda in the second Mercedes, a poor qualifying. Both Alfa Romeos start on the penultimate row, Valtteri Bottas, followed by Robert Schwartzman, and finally it's Mick Schumacher and yet again Max Verstappen. Let's get on with this race. The Portuguese Grand Prix, Pierre Gasly back on the top spot again. Justin Freshpot closely following. We had a rainy qualifying session. Let's see if any of the back marker teams can do well here. Antonio Giovinazzi, enormous corner cut at turn 1. Disgusting.
Where are the stewards? Get him out.
They didn't even bother to look. I've just noticed Yuki Tsunoda at the back, presumably with a 90 million place grid penalty for his crash in the last race, as Radiant Slothz messes up turn 2 and track extends.
Massive track extend. Almost crashes into the McLaren twice.
Valtteri Bottas with an enormous dive bomb.
Move.
Incredible from the Finn. Radiant Slothz tries to challenge, but his car is so slow. He just can't get alongside the Alfa Romeo. What an incredible first few corners this has been. Charles Leclerc in the Haas, still in P9, even though most people have caught up to that thing by now. And this is the pull away from Radiant Slothz. There goes an Alpine up the inside. And he nearly runs into the back of a Williams, does hit the Alpine. Runs it down the inside, and had he stuck the move, that would have been a good position for him, but he's ended up losing.
Instead, he cuts the corner and crashes into a Red Bull, followed by a track extend, followed by almost hitting a McLaren, followed by almost hitting an Alfa Romeo.
Honestly, through my experience with this game, I'm surprised that Alfa Romeo did not hit Radiant Slothz as it came into the corner, as they tend to just swerve across the track for no good reason.
Radiant Slothz now thinking, where can I corner cut? Where can I track extend?
We've got
He should be concentrating on the McLaren behind him.
Guan Yu Zhou goes to the inside. There's a McLaren overtaken up ahead. It's Carlos Sainz on Nikita Mazepin. Zhou already through. Radiant Slothz not able to do anything. The Ferrari not suited to a track like this. Well, it's not really suited to any track at the moment. It's absolute dog shit, but at least he's still ahead of Yuki Tsunoda, who has managed to avoid causing a crash, at least for the time being. Max Verstappen putting in a stellar qualified last, is still last.
One of the few drivers on the grid not to lose positions because he's last.
He's also one of the few former world champions in this series to have actually joined the worst car on the grid by far.
Seems to be a running trend.
Oh God!
Within this championship,
you better watch out.
Everyone
you better
is
not cry.
Taking Radiant Slothz.
Radiant Slothz being doubly overtaken by Tsunoda, and Ocon tries to fight back but can't. Yuki Tsunoda gained 2 positions there. A very good haul for him. Now Radiant Slothz must play with Mick Schumacher, who, despite being in the 5th best car on the grid, is still at the back, and Robert Schwartzman, who's just a shit driver and just in general. So he's going to be having fun back there, looking at the back of an Alpine. This was the moment that Radiant Slothz lost 2 positions at the same time. He goes defensive, but he has nowhere to go. There goes the Alpine, there goes Sonoda. He goes to the inside to try and challenge, but there's no way. They'd have just crashed into him. So he's on board again, chasing down Esteban Ocon. The Alpine, equally as bad as the Ferrari, although I think on the performance scale it is about twice as good. It's just very bad around some tracks. Sparks getting thrown into Radiant Sloth's face. He can't find a way past the Alpine. He might have another opportunity in the second DRS zone, though. Up ahead, Yuki Tsunoda climbing up the field. He's ahead of Guan Yu Zhou now, approaching the points, waiting to crash into his teammate. As Esteban Ocon remains ahead. Another lap. Radiant Sloth's now all over the place, trying to find the fastest line to get past Esteban Ocon.
He just cannot do it. Disappointing, really, from Radiant Sloths.
Max Verstappen 4 seconds behind this group. It is incredible. Oh, we got Radiant Sloths making an overtake. Unbelievable. The Ferrari can still do it.
He pushes the Alpine off the track.
Up the inside. Incredible move. Esteban Ocon is so surprised he drops back nearly a second.
Box.
Justin Freshbot with a rather dull race. He's just sat in 3rd.
Just messing around. Here he goes. Around the final corner. He's about to come into the pits. Hopefully undercut Stroll and Gasly, although Gasly is a little far up the road now. It's going to have to be a pretty interesting
And Latifi is coming as well. He's seen what Justin Freshbot is doing. He thinks, I want a bit of that action.
They try and counter it. In comes Lewis Hamilton as well. These two have got history in this season so far. But they've avoided conflict this time. There goes Latifi. We've got a Haas crew out, probably for Leclerc. And Justin Freshbot is on the way out.
Oh,
there's Radiant Slothz. He's going to go round him. Oh!
Slothz almost crashes into Justin Freshbot. He has to take avoiding action. Luckily, Justin Freshbot, of course, is an incredible driver and saw it coming.
Esteban Ocon.
Now he's being held up by the Ferrari.
The Ferrari moves over to the side, knows his fight is not with Justin Freshbot, allows him past, although
locks up and almost crashes into Justin Freshbot.
A 4-way lock up there.
Almost gets overtaken by Ocon.
Trying his best. He means well, but he just couldn't do anything. As
now Justin Freshbot on his former McLaren car.
Trying to go
around the outside. We can't see. He's still going around the outside.
He's not done it. Oh, he's gone into the pits. There's Guan Yu Zhou. And now Justin Freshbot climbs the order. Unfortunately, though, Pierre Gasly quite far ahead still. And it's not made any difference.
Hasn't jumped Lance Stroll.
An enormous track extend has made no difference whatsoever to the split times. He is not able to gain on the other drivers. And very disappointing for him.
Box.
Radiant Sloths here, of course, recently reprimanded by the FIA for saying the N-word in a press conference, now coming in for his first pit stop of the race.
Esteban Ocon sitting behind him still. Also in a precarious situation, not able to get past, even with DRS and overtake on, and with Mick Schumacher breathing down his neck. In he comes. They're all coming behind him, following the leader. Robert Schwartzman's decided to stay out for some reason. That might be tactical. Who knows? And
no one knows with Robert Schwartzman. Radiant Slothz almost misses his pit box.
Oh, but he's got a nose change. That was unexpected.
V-power on the back of the car. We can only presume that stands for vagina.
There is only one word that
pit.
starts with the letter V, and that is vagina. As he comes out, Max Verstappen was ahead of him.
Now, behind his teammate. Disappointing for Radiant Slothz. Will we see a crash? That is the question. That's what we're here to see. They're racing behind the timing board.
Oh, we can't see Verstappen and Radiant Slothz.
He's crashed into his teammate.
Both with enormous lockups, but Max Verstappen, for some reason, is just not able to outperform who most would consider to be a very bad rookie driver. Not even a pay driver. We're not even sure how Radiant Slothz got into the Formula 1 car in the first place. As Justin Freshbot.
It's gone very off the track. He's hit the wall very hard. He's somehow kept the car going. That was a huge collision with the barrier.
He's got a history here of having crashes.
He's still running.
That's the second crash in 2 races. He has a history of crashing his car at that corner here in Portugal.
Box.
He's being called in, but he's going very defensive for no reason. Oh, he's hit George Russell.
Crashes into him. George Russell turns it. George Russell brake checks the Mercedes after crashing into him. Disgraceful from George Russell.
This is very embarrassing for Justin Freshbot. He's got Charles Leclerc, who's just gone past him, although Yuki Tsunoda has taken the position away almost immediately.
Very slow stop from the Mercedes team. Where will Justin Freshbot come out? If it's not last, he'll be lucky. There's a huge gap to Ocon that's come down dramatically.
Radiant
will he come out ahead of Radiant Slothz?
Just gained 10 seconds in the space of a second. Goes through. There's Max Verstappen. And, Justin Freshbot now has to overtake 2 of the slowest cars on the grid. And then Robert Schwartzman.
So, what can he do? Will we see some overtaking? He's already right behind Max Verstappen.
Watching the replay of this Mercedes, it is visibly faster than the Ferrari coming round the final corner. This is not going to be difficult. There he goes, up the inside. He's already passed. Track extends.
Slightly wide.
But it doesn't matter because Max Verstappen is already 2 tenths behind, 3 tenths, 4 tenths, half a second. That is how slow the Ferrari is, even though they're on differing strategies. And now Radiant
Slothz on the back of Robert Schwartzman.
The worst driver on the grid versus the other worst driver on the grid. The Ferrari in the worst car on the grid. And absolutely no change. He's not able to catch them. Esteban Ocon doing his best.
Bearing down on this pack.
Gets a little loose at the rear. Esteban Ocon slowing the pack down. He has got DRS. Will he make a move into the hairpin? He's going to think about it round the outside.
Radiant Slothz almost crashes into Robert Schwartzman. He track extends massively.
He draws alongside to throw profanities at the man, the Russian man, Robert Schwartzman. Not able to get past though. Oh, Robert Schwartzman runs him off the road. Shocking behaviour.
Track extend.
Unbelievable. It's put him straight into the hands of Justin Freshbot. Robert Schwartzman, desperate to stop anyone getting past, has offered up Radiant Slothz as a sacrifice to the Mercedes. And Justin Freshbot is going to gladly accept. Look at the corner in speed compared to the Ferrari already. He's going to get past.
We see a move here from the Mercedes. Will Radiant Slothz put up a strong defence?
He's visibly so much slower going around the final corner. It's hilarious how bad he is. Max Verstappen 6 seconds behind this pack. He's just DNF.
As we jump up to later in the lap. Radiant Slothz almost rear-ends Schwartzman again.
Robert Schwartzman now in the clutches of Radiant Slothz, and Justin Freshbot chases down Mick Schumacher. Only a few more corners left of the track. Robert Schwartzman pushes Radiant Slothz off the track once again in the background. Justin Freshbot all over the back of the Haas. Esteban Ocon will be quaking in his boots as well. As we come round, there's only a couple corners left. Justin Freshbot at the inside.
The inside, past the Haas. He'll now be unchallenged for getting past that Alpine. As long as
the Haas is coming back and he makes contact.
Haas crashing into the Mercedes, who still gets past.
Unbelievable. And here comes Radiant Slothz. Is he going to get past Robert Schwartzman, the worst driver on the grid? He does!
He crashes into him. That was unnecessary from Radiant Slothz.
Let's go on board with Radiant Slothz and just make sure that there was no contact. He goes up the inside. Robert Schwarzman just hits the brakes for no reason at all there, and allows Radiant Slothz pass. Yuki Tsunoda redeems himself after a shocking display at Imola and has taken driver of the day. But of course, all eyes are on Pierre Gasly, who has got yet another lucky win in the best car on the grid. And he's making a certain Lando Norris very jealous as of late. AlphaTauri still, though, behind Aston Martin in the the Constructors' Championship. As we'll see them come out onto the podium. I can't remember who the other guy was on the podium. It was Lance Stroll. Incredible. Aston Martin, good result there. Usually a very bad car, somehow managing to get up there, fighting for the podiums. This whole season has been turned on its head compared with the last four, and we're definitely going to see a midfield title battle for Season 5. So, no surprises. Once again, Pierre Gasly takes the top spot on the podium. He was followed by Lance Stroll and Antonio Giovinazzi in both the Aston Martins. A good performance by that team so far this season. Behind them, Nicholas Latifi, then three Brits, Lando Norris, Lewis Hamilton and George Russell. And then rounding out the top 10, we have Yuki Tsunoda, Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc in the Haas. And over in the Drivers' Championship, Pierre Gasly's lead extends a little bit more once again. Antonio Giovinazzi is sticking with him, as is Lance Stroll, although he is starting to drop away a little bit more each time. They're followed by Yuki Tsunoda, Nicholas Latifi, Charles Leclerc, then the three Brits once again of Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, who are tied, then Justin Freshpot. Rounding out the top 10, we have Charles Leclerc, who is 1 point ahead of Radiant Slothz. Over in the Constructors, Aston Martin retain the lead ahead of AlphaTauri, but their advantage has been greatly shrunk down. They're followed by Mercedes, Red Bull, McLaren, Williams, Haas, Ferrari, Alfa Romeo and Alpine. We'll catch you in the next one.